Okay, so you're building a career in the beauty industry. You've got so much to focus on, right? Your technique, your creativity, building up that client list. But what if I told you the most important tool for your success isn't actually a pair of scissors or a brush, but a legal document? Today, we're going to decode the official rulebook for beauty pros in Kentucky. So let's think about it. When you're just getting started, what do you think is the single biggest threat to your brand new career? Is it, struggling to find clients? Maybe not mastering the latest technique fast enough? Well, the answer might actually surprise you. It has nothing to do with how skilled you are. The biggest risk, even for the most talented people out there, is getting tripped up by the super complex web of regulations that govern the entire industry. It's all hiding right there in the fine print. And this is that fine print. We're about to dive into the official rulebook itself, Kentucky Administrative Regulation 201 KAR 12030. I know, it sounds like a total mouthful, but this is the document, the foundation for licensing and exams for the whole state. And here it is. Yeah, it looks a little dense, doesn't it? This is the actual legal text. This is what the state board uses, and it dictates literally everything, from getting your very first license all the way to opening your own salon. But it doesn't have to be so intimidating. The Louisville Beauty Academy, which is our source for this breakdown, does something really unique. They publish the entire law word for word, but they also create materials just like this to make it, actually understandable for everybody. Which, of course, brings up a really interesting question. Why on earth would a school go to all the trouble of publishing the entire legal code? Not just a simple summary, but the whole shebang. Well, the answer comes down to a core belief, the idea that truly understanding the law is like a form of professional armor. So this next section is all about that, how knowing this stuff becomes your protection. It's not about being afraid of the rules. It's about using them to build a career that's safe, secure, and successful. It really just boils down to this simple but incredibly powerful idea. Law literacy equals career protection. It's an equation that totally reframes legal knowledge. It's not a burden. It's one of the most vital assets you can have as a beauty professional. So what does that protection actually look like in the real world? Well, it's knowing exactly what you have to do to avoid the career-ending mistake of unlicensed practice. It's walking into your exams feeling totally prepared, not just on your technique, but on the rules too. And at the end of the day, it's about protecting your livelihood by making sure you're operating legally from day one. All right, so we've covered the why this all matters so much. Now, let's get into the what. Let's look at some specific, real-world examples of these rules of the trade pulled directly from that big legal document. Let's start with a big number, 1,500, 1,500. According to Kentucky law, that's the absolute minimum number of curriculum hours you have to complete just to be eligible to apply for your cosmetology license. It's a non-negotiable first step, a really high bar that's set to professionalize the industry right from the very beginning. And once you've logged all those hours, the path to your exam is just as structured. You can't just graduate and show up one day. The law says you have to register with the board months before you graduate. Then you have to pass the written theory exam, and only after you've done that can you move on to the practical, hands-on part. And this is where the details get really, really interesting. The law is incredibly specific, right down to what you wear for your practical exam. It says you have to wear solid color medical scrubs, and get this, white scrubs are explicitly forbidden. It just goes to show you, every single little detail matters when you're proving your professionalism to the board. And the rules don't just stop with individual licenses, not at all. Dreaming of opening your own salon? The law lays out a super clear path. You need the right application, you have to pass a board inspection before a single client can walk through that door, and you have to have a board-licensed manager on site. It's a clear-cut checklist for being a legit business. So all of these rules we've been looking at, they're the baseline, the absolute bare minimum for being a legal professional. But as we're about to see, there is a huge difference between just meeting the minimum requirement and truly going beyond it to set a real professional standard. And this comparison just makes that difference crystal clear. On one hand, the minimum requirement for school is to teach the law for 1 hour a week. Okay, but the gold standard? That's publishing the entire law for everyone to see and training students how to read and understand it for themselves. It's the difference between just being told the rules and being truly empowered by them. And that really brings us to the ultimate takeaway here. In an industry that is built on skill, trust and safety, transparency isn't just a nice to have, it is the very definition of professionalism. And knowing the law isn't a chore, it is your single greatest form of protection. So the question you really got to ask yourself is this: are you just following the rules, or are you building your career on a foundation of true empowerment?